Adrian, we can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself. You seem to have muted yourself.
Hello, we don't hear you.
It seems Adrian is speaking, but he could have muted himself, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can't hear him.
Hello.
Yes, hello, we are hearing you, Mr. Adrian. So we are receiving echoes.
However, there's some echo.
All right. Am I loud and clear now?
Yes,
Very clear.
that's good.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining our monthly UCA online fellowship. It's already 10 minutes past the hour of 7 p.m. East African Standard Time. My name is Adrian Kakinda, your host this evening and moderator, and I'm very happy to welcome you warmly for yet another exciting fellowship, which we are going to enjoy this very evening. It's all about preparing your conference abstract, and I'm very happy to mention that our facilitator is already online and is ready to share with us this amazing topic this evening. So we've already waited for now for very many minutes, already 10 minutes we've been waiting. And you can tap on your colleague that the fellowship has started, inform those who are having issues using the Zoom that we've shared, the YouTube channel link of Uganda Counseling Association. It's already moving all over the place, which someone can just tap in and follow the proceedings as we can continue right down here. It's Uganda Counseling Association Online Fellowship 2023, and our presenter this evening is Mr. Kavuma David. Mr. Kavuma David is our presenter this evening, and is already excited. Actually, I know that one. I know that is going to give us a wonderful share. And by the end of the fellowship, we would have got something very pertinent and very, very amazing in as far as developing our counseling profession and our counseling practice is concerned. So the topical discussion this evening is preparing your conference abstract. That's what we are going to focus on this evening. We are going to see how best we can prepare our conference abstract. But before getting to that point, I want to remind you members that UCA has organized yet another exciting event this month, 28th of April. It will be a Friday, the first UCA Student Symposium 2023. Students have been complaining over time that they don't have capacity to attend the national conferences that UCA always organize every year because of the financial implications. But now this is only 40,000 Ugandan shilling, less than even perhaps $5. So we are waiting for students to come through. Come 28th, we have exciting topics, we have exciting facilitators, and indeed it will be another exciting day for the counselor, for the counseling students, for the social workers. We've also invited them. We've even invited other psychologists, clinical psychologists, community psychologists, educational psychologists to come through and get another exciting kind of conversation that day on 28th Friday. So remind every student in your docket, if you have any relative, any colleague, it's going to be very, very amazing on that very day. Thanks very much for coming through. It's indeed, the number is quite good. The quorum is already there. Mr. Kavuma David, I've already made you a co-host. You are going to open your microphone to just say hi to the congregation, and for those who are on Zoom and those who are following via YouTube channel called Uganda Counseling Association. If you have issues with the Zoom, don't worry. We've got you covered. You can as well visit our YouTube channel, Uganda Counseling Association. Tap on that link, it's live, and you will be able to follow the issues that are going through. Thanks very much. Over to you, Mr. Kavuma David. You can open your mic and please say hi before I give you a leeway to continue with this evening's presentation. Welcome, Mr. Kavuma David.
Thank you so much, Adrian, for the kind introduction. You are scaring me already because you might make people over expectant, and you have to give a big challenge to fulfill their expectations. But we shall get there, I believe. I wish you the best presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kavuma David. Hope when you start your presentation, you may have to share. You might have to share your brief profile for people to know who is Mr. Kavuma David. For me, I know, and some of the people on this call know, but still more don't know who you are. But we are going to address how to prepare your conference abstract. You know, as counselors in this profession, we do various research. We do a lot of research, but research known to ourselves only. Yet we all know that research is such an important thing for clients, for practitioners, and politically to continue to demonstrate that counseling changes lives. So research provides evidence for the range of issues where therapy can be effective and the positive outcomes for the clients. Therefore, we need to disseminate research. We need to disseminate research. Welcome, Mr. Kavuma. I'm not the main speaker of the day. Please, the platform is yours. We've already prepared our notebooks, our recorders, our everything. And above all, we are maximally giving you our attention this evening. Welcome, Mr. Kavuma David.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adrian. Are you recording this presentation, sir?
Yes, let me check through, but what
Okay,
I know, I'm recording.
Because some people might miss to be here with us, but at least it would be good if you can get the. Okay, great. I must not be new to most of the people here, I believe. But just some who will be hearing me for the first time, I'm David Kavuma, and I work with the Mardime Institute of Health Sciences that belongs to Mardime, Uganda. I do some part-time teaching at Chambogo University and the Uganda Matters University. And I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. And also I'm a public health specialist as well. And I'm a student at the same time. So I'm happy to speak with you this evening. And also, by the way, on UCA, I'm the chairperson of the board. We have the committee that is overseeing the UCA executive, and I happen to chair that board as well. Briefly, that is me. And like Adrian introduced to us already, we are going to be talking about how to write conference abstracts. I know most of us have presented at conferences before, have written abstracts, and even maybe some of you have also reviewed the abstracts. I've participated in reviewing some conference abstracts. Some were for Uganda Counseling Association, and also for other conferences. But one time when we were reviewing those abstracts, we saw a lot of gaps. And of course, we need to blame the writers so much. Maybe when we were teaching them, we didn't teach them how to write conference abstracts. And so that's why really we saw that it is really very fit to present this subject to them and to all of us. Let me proceed. So somebody put that conference abstracts are commonly used and the most influential tools in influencing research, policy, and practice. And this calls for us to have the right skills, because this skill is very vital for us to have these days. And what I've observed, and even which some of you could have observed, in most times, most counselors don't present at conferences. Not many counselors, at least very few, happen to see doctors, nurses, and other professionals, but counselors, very rare. And it's good that at least UCA happen to have conferences, and these days we are trying to make them more scientific. And this is the reason as to why we are having this kind of arrangement so that we can improve on the way we've been doing our things. For those of us who have been doing it right, keep it up. But every day there's something new to learn. Okay, much as having the skills of writing abstracts rightly are very critical these days, but when you happen to look at some of the abstracts that some people happen to write, the writing is really very poor, and you happen to find no key information in that abstract, and at times there is sort of bias, and the science in them happen to be actually lacking. Yet we are saying it's a very critical skill these days. So the goal of this session or this fellowship is about enabling us to recognize that an effective abstract is a very excellent way of sharing one's knowledge, your skills, your experiences, and even expertise. At a conference, could it be maybe national or international, you know? And when you happen to do that presentation or that sharing of your knowledge, your skills, you are helping in translating knowledge and at the same time helping people to adopt the best practices, you know, because in conferences, when you're presenting abstracts at times, people happen to present best practices. And when you happen to present a best practice, okay, you have helped in translating the knowledge, you know, and it will be utilized you're also going to help in passing on the best practice that can be utilized by others. And as you do that, you are supporting other people's professional development. So at the coming conference, we hope to see this happening, sharing your knowledge, sharing your skills, sharing experience, sharing expertise, the best practices to help others learn from you. But also note that at the same time, when you happen to present an abstract, you also get some opportunities, like you can develop your speaking or public speaking skills, and also you are able to receive feedback from others on how you've done your work, on how well you do things out there. And also you make friends, you develop networks with the others who happen to share the same interests. I know in our counseling practice, some of us happen to be passionate about counseling the married people, others dealing with the adolescents, others dealing with the children, so many interests. So when you happen to present your abstract so well, of course, in the audience, some people who share the same interests with you, of course, we network with you. So I thought this is very key for us to appreciate. Now, this session or this fellowship is intending to help us explain what a conference abstract is, what is a good, and of course, the bad conference abstract, and also to explain the various types of conference abstracts and their features, and also to recognize the benefits of writing an effective conference abstract. So these are the learning outcomes. I thought that would be relevant for our fellowship. I don't know if at this point there's any other expectation that we can add on to this so that we can talk about it as well this evening. I can hang on here, and then I can get to see or get your comments or your expectations in the case what I've said doesn't cater for your needs. You can type in the chat or you can speak. Let him mute my microphone. Hello?
Yes,
Adrian,
hello.
can you hear me?
We are getting you.
I proceed.
Yes, Sebo. Kindly proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Now, what is a conference abstract? It is basically a short document that is intended to capture the interest of the potential attendees or listeners to your presentation. It can be an oral, because when you are presenting these papers at conferences, abstracts, normally we have the oral and the poster. So you present either. Normally, when you are presenting, one could ask you, how come one can present orally and another by poster? Normally, the oral presentation, the oral abstract or conference presentation is normally happen to be so much in line with the theme of the conference. And normally that abstract could have been presented so nicely when you are submitting your abstract to the conference organizers. And those that happen not to have been presented nicely, or that were not submitted with the right features of a good abstract, then they can be made the poster presentations, or if your abstract is not so much linked to the theme directly, then it can be made a poster. So when you're presenting either the oral, the abstract maybe for oral presentation or poster, normally that document is short, brief, and you should prepare it in a way that will capture the people's eyes, attention, to keep listening to your presentation. So that is how we can define the abstract. That is so document that you prepare with an intention of capturing people's attention. But don't forget that now we are talking about preparing the conference abstract. But of course, after preparing the conference abstract, and if it is accepted, then you are able to write the presentation to present at the conference. So the presentation is an expansion or enlargement of the short document that you submitted as an abstract. But the two must link, must connect. You shouldn't divert significantly from the abstract that you submitted. Now, having looked at the definition of the conference abstract, one would ask, so I have to admit people, so that's what happened to have some kind of interruptions here. Adrian, you can help me admit people? so that we minimize when the interruptions. So why should I write the abstract? Why should I get oriented on how to write a conference abstract? Of course, there are so many reasons, but one of them is to help you present. We are learning how to present complex information in a clear and a concise manner, because an abstract, as we defined, it's a short document. So we are learning how to write that short document, short in a summarized way, but yet in a comprehensive manner. So secondly, why should you get oriented on how to write a good conference abstract is this would help you to read the abstracts more effectively. You know, some of us don't want to read, and of course, when you happen to pick interest in presenting conference abstracts, your reading happen to also get improved. And before you go into the details of a book or even a such paper, you start, because it happens to have an abstract, which is commonly known as others refer to as a summary, executive summary. So that executive summary can be like maybe a synonym of the abstract. So you getting oriented on to how to write a good abstract, it is going to also help you to read the abstracts more effectively, to find out, is this abstract a good one or not? Does it have the features required or not? So you see, this is a second reason as to why you need to get oriented on how to write a good conference abstracts. Next is it helps us to conduct research more effectively, since you can easily scan the information you need more easily. You know, when you write an abstract, first of all, what I didn't say earlier, but I thought I would say it later, but I think I can't wait. You can't write an abstract without having done research at first. So the abstract is written last. So me presenting, I'm assuming you know that it all starts with the carrying out research, and thereafter the summary of the research that you want to present at a given conference, if that conference is in line with what you researched. So that summary of the research that you carried out is what you call the abstract, but has to be written in a scientific manner so that the conference organizers can get interested in what you did and if it's worth being presented at the conference. So when you go through this experience, it happens to enhance your research skills. And when some things are missing in your abstract, the organizers can help you or can ask to add what is missing, yet very critical. So meaning that in case you are doing research next time, you know what is vital, you know what you shouldn't miss out, because it's very critical to the audience. And even when presenting at the conference, there are some questions that people are going to ask you from your presentation. So, and also this is enriching your research competences, so that when you happen to do future research, then you know what is very critical that you shouldn't leave out next time. So this is another reason as to why you need to get this orientation on how to write effective conference abstracts. Fourth is it happened to help us write abstracts for future publications. Because when you happen to write abstracts now and again, because even this abstract writing, now we are talking about conference abstracts, but there are abstracts that happen to be written when you are going to submit a paper for publication. So when you are being used to writing conference abstracts, when it comes to writing an abstract for your paper to get published, it becomes easier because it has been the usual. So you know what is the key in an abstract. So it makes your life easier. So in case you want to publish in the future, conference abstract writing happen to be a good stepping stone. Lastly, but not the least, it helps us to condense when we learn how to write conference abstracts, as now we're learning. It helps us to learn how to condense very detailed information into a summarized format. I'm talking about one could ask, why should I attend this fellowship on abstract writing, conference abstract writing? These are some of the reasons as to why you need to attend this fellowship. Listen to this session. And of course, these are some of the reasons. So part of it, like, because an abstract is a summary of the detailed information. So when you happen to do this now and again, you get to learn how to summarize the most key messages, the most key information for the public to consume in a very short time. So you can say that a conference abstract is like a mini skirt, very brief, but it's having the key or the vital purpose. Now, conference abstracts happen to have different types, but these are the common types of conference abstracts. We have the scientific abstracts, and also we have the so I had written this here. So we have the scientific, and we have the best practices or program or project implementation initiatives based abstracts. Others call these field experience abstract. So these are the two common. And when a conference is being organized, they know that not all of us are researchers. What we are doing could be so nice to share to the world, and worth writing well and be accepted and then presented. So if you haven't carried out research, but what you have done is a good thing, is a good practice worth sharing to the world to appreciate the best practice, then that falls in the second category that we call the best practices or program or project abstracts, where we're trying to tell the experience from the practice. But the way we present these two differs, and some of us could be very familiar. Let's get going now. Starting with the scientific abstracts. What's a scientific abstract? A scientific abstract, or is also known as a research abstract, it is that short summary of the research that you have completed or that you did. Some of you here did your master's, others maybe did your projects at undergraduates. And so you can, I know there is an executive summary in your dissertation for masters or even for undergraduates. So that executive summary is in the conference language, it is the abstract. So we call it the abstract. But of course, some of us, the way we wrote ours, we wrote it in our own way. And maybe there's no strictness so much. Maybe for others there's strictness. But in the conference abstracts, we must, if it's a scientific paper, it must indeed be scientific by having all the features that qualifies it to be. Now, a scientific abstract is a summary of the research that you carried out. And it is intended to describe your work, but without going into details, because we said that as we defined, an abstract, a conference abstract is a short summary. And that's why, as we shall see soon, the words are restricted. Normally, they can say your abstract should not be beyond 200 words, or not more than 250 words, or not more than 300 words, or not more than 350. If they say 3 feet, that's so big, that's very generous. But normally, they happen to give between 200 and 250, or between 250 and 300. Of course, some conference organizers are not so strict with the word limit, you know, but where they don't give the word limit, then it can become a challenge, because you can have people giving like 2 pages, yet an abstract should fit on 1 page. You know, I've seen some use a conference abstracts in the past having like 3 pages. But of course, you can't blame that person, because the person, that's how the person knew how to do things. But now that you are getting this opportunity of learning, then there's no reason to continue making such kind of errors, because here we are getting to know how to do things right. And you should also go and spread the same gospel others. So the scientific abstract is the first category or type of conference abstract. And the common features of such, it happens to have a title, it happens to have a background, it happens to have the objectives, it happens to have the methods, the results, the conclusions, and recommendations. And when the conference organizers are calling for abstracts, they will specify the details they want you to include in your paper. But normally, even if they don't tell this detail, if you know that I did a research and I'm going to submit my abstract, you must know the features it should have, even if they never mentioned. But normally, at least I have not seen a conference where they call for abstracts without telling the format. And I think these days even UCA does it. Now, the format, I'm trying to expand on the format of the conference abstract. I mean the scientific abstract. The scientific abstract starts with a title. Of course, the research that you did should have had a title, and it's that title that you should include here. Adrian, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm getting you.
If you are getting me, then I think others also are getting me.
Mr. Ashraf, please mute your microphone.
So the scientific abstract or the research abstract, which is the first type of conference abstract, should have a title, which should be specific enough, describing what you carried out. You know, it should have the background. At times, some people call it introduction. So the two happen to be used interchangeably in the research abstracts. And this should reflect your introduction or background, because normally a conference happens to have a main theme and it happens to have sub-themes or tracks. So, of course, your abstract must follow in a certain track or theme or category. So when you're introducing your abstract, endeavor to make sure that your introduction or background rhymes well with a given theme where your abstract is falling. Third are the methods. We are looking at the features of the format of the scientific abstract. Methods, these happen, you are trying to describe the approaches that you used, you know, to carry out that study. Of course, not leaving out to this design, the preparation, all the participants in your study, how you sampled them, how many were they, which data collection methods did you use, you know, and how did you analyze your data? And not forgetting, what I've observed is that this section, normally in research, from bachelor's to even PhD level, this methodology section is not an easy thing to play with. So in most cases, the abstract writers happen to juggle a lot, happen to, not to do this part quite well. The design at times also not clear. What some people say, this was a quantitative study, and because like I will say it later, you will be able to write a good abstract for the conference, the scientific abstract, if at least you have some basic knowledge in research methods, because research abstracts are anchored on the research methods. But what I've observed, quite a number of us counselors, we need to really improve on this area of research methods. Maybe we who teach you, at times we are not doing it right. But at least when you are in the field there, when you happen to get a chance, you go and learn things better. And experience is the best teacher. And maybe some of these things maybe would have been taught, but no, don't mind. It's never too late. But the methods, most of us happen to not be very adequately competent or knowledgeable on how to articulate the study design that we used in carrying out our study. Results, here you are telling what were the key results from the study that you carried out, that you are telling the world, and these must be presented logically, then conclusion, you must of course tell us, so what, because now people so what are you telling us, you must tell the key outcomes of your study, and these of course must rhyme with the track or the theme, the sub-theme where your abstract follows, and you must be clear and concise about what your study is contributing. Is it contributing to counseling practice? Is it contributing to research? Is it contributing maybe to teaching, counseling, or whatever? You should be very clear in your conclusion. And of course, you must reflect the objectives and the study findings. And normally, the recommendations are part of the scientific research abstract, the scientific abstract. Here, of course, you are telling what are you recommending at the national level, district, health hospital level, So, so we are looking. Don't forget, we saw the two types of conference abstracts: the scientific and the best practice. Now we are trying to unpack the scientific abstract, and we have been detailing how it looks like. Now, other versions can say, maybe depending on the organizer, they can say your abstract must include the motivation or problem statement, must have methods or procedure or approach. Others can say it must have the section for findings or product. Others can have conclusion. So, but what you are saying here is the same, like we have just seen. So don't be lost in there. So at times the different words can be used, but they happen to be synonyms. So the conference organizers normally happen to be very clear on what they want. So the second category are the best practice or program or project implementation abstract, and these happen to share the field experiences one who has gone through that is trying to share, one that wishes to share to the world. And normally this kind of abstract happen to have of course, you have the title, it will have the issues or the background, it will have the results. At times before the results, they happen to be methodology, and after the results, then you happen to have the lessons learned or recommendations. But we're going to have a look at some of the examples, if some of you haven't had the chance to see how these happen to look like. Now, this is the common format of the project or best practice or program implementation abstract. What I mean here is, now, like, we
Mr. Kavuma, I'm losing you.
I think network is buffering.
All right. Let him Let's wait for him to return. Sorry about that. We are sorry about that. Let him reconnect.
Oh, sorry,
Mr.
I'm
Kavuma,
sorry.
are you back?
I had some interruptions here.
Oh, there you
I'm
are.
back.
I'm getting
I'm
you
back,
now.
sir. I'm sorry. I had some interruptions here. Okay.
It's fine.
I had some interruptions here. I'm sorry. So I was saying that we have had the COVID, Ebola, and we had some fires, happening to Kimene, Ugandans sometime back. And we had some members going to support the bereaved families, all affected individuals. Now, one who can, basing on what you have gone through, you who has participated in this activity, what you have gone through, the issues that you had there, how you handled, what came out of that, you can write a good book. You can write that experience in detail, and later it can be a very good conference abstract to share to the world, how the experience was in crisis counseling, So you are telling the experiences of what you went through, you have to describe in the first place how the things were, how many were you were, what you did, and later you are telling the outcomes, the result out of that intervention that you carried out, and later the lesson is learned. And this lesson are worth sharing can inform the educators, the lecturers, the teachers, can inform other counselors, can inform policymakers. And I believe some of us saw some of you could have seen some of our articles like in the media during the COVID-19 period, because they could call counselors to be part of the frontline staff to support those people that were isolated, and some of you could have participated. And I don't know if some of you have written those experiences, because I know you went through, very tough experiences that it could be worth sharing to the world. So if you have an abstract in that line, then that becomes a true example of the best practice or a program or a project implementation initiative abstract. But first of all, it has the issues, it has the results, it has the lessons learned. And the lessons learned, you are trying to inform the different stakeholders. Can be educationists, those who are teaching, counseling. You can be informing the policymakers. We need to have counselors included in the public service. Good enough, we have had some kind of breakthrough, but of course we need to lobby for more. We can, maybe to have counselors included in schools, make it a mandatory. So there could be some lessons that are worth sharing, basing on the success you are trying to share with the world. Okay, I think I should try to wind up because my time is running out, I believe. What are those general qualities? So those are the two major types of conference abstracts. That if you have the third, maybe I'll be happy also to learn from that, but those are the two common ones. Now, what are the general qualities? The general qualities, you could have a very long list, but these are just some of the few qualities of a good conference abstract. It should be condensed, it should be, it should be summarized, but representing the full details of the paper, the research work that you carried out too. So it's a summary after all. It should be well developed, good paragraphs, well written, no errors, good English, and summarized. And you must use simple language. Don't use technical language. If you talk of maybe the hard language, maybe what can I say here? The common terms in counseling. Maybe this was psychoanalytic, maybe psychoanalytic mode. Try to use try to use simple words, simple language, plain English. Don't use hard terms in your abstract. So it should be very easy to read, to understand, to the public, people that are going to read it and they judge. And 200 to 300 words are common, at times 350, depending, but they will guide. Normally, the conference organizers have to guide on that, on the number of words. It should be understood without reading the paper. So I don't have to write the 200 paper, the 200 pages document to understand your abstract. No. So this 1 page or a third of the page abstract must be a good summary, a succinct summary of the detailed research report. And it must flow well. Don't start with the results and then you go to conclude and then you go to methods. You must be organized and should be detailed as much as possible, but it should not forget to be within the acceptable word limit provided by the organizers. So this calls for precise writing skills and with the fine judgment. So writing skills here, because the word counting is very critical, you should avoid the flowery words, conversational words. At times I say pediatric age group, the gray-haired population, using those many words, that is the elderly, pediatric age group, children. So when you happen to write abstracts, you also learn how to write precisely but clearly. So others, if you use those very many words, then you are going to have you are going to have a big word count even before you put your message across. So your abstract must reflect good writing skills. It should not present a biased picture. Now we are having the issue of homosexuality, very common thing. Don't say homosexuality is a bad thing, So because in research, you must avoid giving biased results. I mean, biased write-up or abstract. Yes, you might not be supporting it, but you don't have to walk on naked in the road to show that you don't support. There is another way of showing that you don't support it, but you must use the right language that don't cause the bias, but while putting your values across. It should be intelligible. It's like you should write to the wider audience. Don't write language that is that only known by the counselors, only known by maybe by the doctors. Oh, now we are talking counseling. So your writing must not be complex. You should write to the world to understand what you are writing about. And the reader should be able to evaluate your conclusion. Don't write and then leave it naked without telling us the next, what are you saying at the end, after all. So these are some of the general qualities of good conference abstracts. Now, what are the common steps in writing the abstracts? Like I said earlier, you must have carried out a research, because in the abstract is a summary. You are telling the people the summary of what you did, and you must observe the guidelines given to you by the organizers of the conference or symposium. you must read your paper fully before writing. Before writing or in the process, you must have done research. You must read the guidance of the conference organizers to guide your writing. If you're having a research paper, you must read that. What are they saying for me to include? Now read your paper, the research report, fully understand, and make sure that what you are reading, what you intend to write, is in line with the theme or the track of the conference that you are interested in. So read it fully, and as you read, make sure that you identify the key messages in there that you are going to use to build your paper, your abstract. Then, after reading your research entirely, then this is going to help you to pick the key messages, and then you are going to write the draft of the paper, of the abstract, and then, of course, as you write, you are following the format provided. And when you're writing the scientific abstract, for example, at least don't make the introduction too long. 1 to 2 sentences are enough. And a good sentence is not a long sentence. As the sentence, 2 lines long, 2 lines long. Even if it's 1 line long, the shorter the better, so long as it is a summary of the details in your research that you did. At least when you are describing the methods, 1 to 2 sentences at a time, is 1 to 2 or 3 sentences. One would say, hey, if my study had I have a full chapter on methodology, and I write 2 sentences in my abstract. Yes, it is possible. It is possible if you start practicing, and the more you happen to write, the better you become. Experience is the best teacher. And when you get to the results, 1 to 2 or 3, so long as you're within the word limit, and also when you get to conclusion, 1 to 2, even 1 sentence can be enough for the conclusion and recommendations, but 1 to 2. So we are going to look at some of these examples. And maybe for now, before I conclude, is there any question? Do you have any question?
Wow. Thanks very much, Mr. Kavuma, for such an insightful presentation. My great professor told me that if people are quiet, they are either contented or confused. Now, I don't expect any kind of silence from the participants of this amazing fellowship. You can raise up your hand if you have any question, either you're seeking clarity or you have an inquiry. Please feel free. And yes, Mr. Mogumia Ivan, come through.
Thank you so much, moderator. And thank you so much, Mr. David Kavuma, for that wonderful presentation and enlightening us on how to go about with our research abstract. So I just wanted to find out with your experience how you advise us to because as you try to summarize your research into an abstract, there are those very important things that you feel should also come out while presenting, but unfortunately the word count is not allowing you to do that. But you really feel they are also important to note on, or even as you present your abstract, you may want to refer to those same aspects. How do you ensure that such message is not lost for good in your presentation? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ivan, for your question. I don't know if I should wait for another question or I answer this right away. Maybe as I wait for
Right
another one,
now,
just okay.
yes, please.
So now that it's like, what if the key messages I want to put across are being left out due to the restrictions on the word count? Yes. So actually, my first time to write a conference abstract, I took the whole day to write a conference abstract, and I couldn't believe it. You know how to go to get the dictionary, how to go to the synonyms, what. So much as you do have a lot of other good things, so try to summarize the key ones, and it is always good to work with another person too, because you could consider that some information is very critical that can't be left out too. It must be included. But maybe you are missing something. So when another eye looks at your thing, will give you a different opinion. So I think it's good to share with one who is more senior to help you and see how to summarize, how to pick the most, because the abstract is just a summary. But if really all things are so nice, you can wait, you can pray, and then your abstract is accepted, and you present the details with liberty at the conference, where we have maybe like about 10 minutes to present your work. But here, bring what is more key that you can't leave out. Ivan.
Yes, thank you so much for that feedback. And
Yes.
I appreciate indeed, I think giving an opportunity for someone to read through can help us to overcome that dilemma. I appreciate,
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. And an example, this is a conference. I think it's going to happen later this year. No, it has already happened, actually. But let's have a look at what you're talking about. Here we're having a theme of the conference, and they are telling us the dates. Actually, I think it's going to happen later. And then the event details, telling us, I think, Ivan, this is a very good, this is in your line of expertise, specialty, environmental health. And they are telling us the background to this conference. Then they tell us, and this is very key for you to read this information, so that if you have some research that you did already, you can see how your work is fitting in this kind of background. And then here they give us the conference sub-themes. The main theme is environmental health and contribution to combating emerging diseases. And then they're having the sub-themes. They are giving us the sub-themes. So in environmental health, these are some of the different areas. Of course, so I didn't pick the counseling, but at least that one you are very much familiar. But here we are just for learning purposes that conference has a theme, a main theme, and then sub-themes or tracks. And then the objectives are also put here, so that when you are organizing your paper, it must fit into any of these objectives. And then the outputs, and then they tell some info for the students, maybe to the funders, how you can get involved. And then now here they get to the abstract submission guidelines. Here they're telling us the guidelines that we must observe when submitting abstracts for that conference. You must indicate the sub-theme, this information is good for you to read and make sure that you fall within the standards. And what I didn't say earlier is that when they talk of the word counting, some conference abstracts, when you're submitting them online. And even if the word is 301, yet you're supposed to submit for 300 words and below, for sure it will not go. And I have to find out. I remember the first time I did it was very, very hectic. but it was a very good learning experience. You know, the first one, it happened to be very challenging, but with the time, it becomes handy, it becomes very easy. So normally, like I said earlier, they give you guidelines to follow. Okay. And then how to submit, they tell you. And then the review, they tell you how to be done. Because normally when you happen to review, of course, the experts there will look at your work and they see if actually your research, your paper is meeting the standards required. So here, they didn't tell us the conference, maybe the research or the research or the project. Here, but here you're telling us that research abstract should be formatted. Okay, yes, here. Background, methods, results, and conclusion. And this outlining should not be in all, not in caps. So they happen to give us here some hint on how to present our research abstracts. Though I think they need to include those for the projects, but the standard is the same normally. The standard is the same normally for the projects. Also allow me to this other example here. Let me see. I'm winding up members because let's see here. Issues. I want to show you another a certain conference abstract. Yes. Just have a glimpse of what we're talking about. Now, this is a conference that took place last year. This was a palliative care conference, palliative care in a pandemic. It happened last August. Let us go quickly and look at some of the papers anyway, because that is our key business tonight. Just for you to see what we've been talking about. Just going to pick randomly, you know, randomly. Okay. So do we see this one? This one started from here. This is an expansion of palliative care training to online platform during COVID-19 pandemic. You know, that time Corona was all over. So this was the title, expansion of palliative care training to online platform. Because so this person, the abstract was this, and that was the title. And then the person here had the context. Here, I think they gave a format, and this was the format for. You are going to tell me at the end here. You have seen the title, and now we are seeing the format, the build-up, or the structure. There's a context, there is aims, there's a methodology, there's a program interventions, there are results, lessons learned, there are discussion, and the conclusion. What do you think is this type of abstract? Is it research or it is program or project implementation?
Project implementation.
This is a project implementation abstract. Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
project.
So much as I told you in my presentation that normally there is the issues, then there is the results, then lessons learned, but times the format can vary depending on the conference. So in this conference, the format for non-research papers, this was the format that was followed. Okay, let's pick on another paper and then see. whether this what I'm talking about is really true. And now this is the okay, a title here. It is the lights, camera, action. So this code here is showing the theme or the sub theme or the track where this conference abstract falls or lies. This was the coding, but this is its title: lights, camera, innovation, time is COVID. And now here they are trying to tell us, background, aims, design, methods, approach, results. What do you think is this type of abstract?
I think it's project implementation also.
It is also more of a project implementation.
Yes.
Okay. Let us look at maybe let me try to get maybe a scientific one. And maybe let's see if I can get, here, maybe because it was COVID, maybe there's a lot of work done from home. But I think this is now there's this one. You see this one? This one, at a time with some of these, you can even get to know the category by mere look at the title. Now here, the barriers to translating palliative care knowledge to clinical practice in a regional developing country. Of course, the abstract must have the authors, and so the barriers to translating the palliative care knowledge to clinical practice in regional developing countries. So now when you look at the detail here, background, context, they are trying to tell us the deed. And you can see how brief it is. It has 2 sentences. And here, the aim was part of the guidelines. Observe the guidelines, ladies and gentlemen. Observe the guidelines. And then in here, they had the background, then they had the aim, then they had the methods. And then here, the same mixed method study included cross-sectional survey, interviews, and then they tell us the data collection, and then the analysis, and then they tell us the results. We can see the results. So I hope everybody here is able to say this is a scientific research paper. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Hope you now after this session, I hope now you can pick interest in looking at research papers and find out, do they have the features you're talking about here? And also learn other things that maybe I've not talked about here, but will be of help to enhancing on your conference abstract writing abilities. So I think you can even see here now. Also this is the I think here the audio count wasn't very much followed strictly. But another good thing out of writing abstracts is that your work gets published, and it is known publicly. I mean, globally. Actually, this work, I've asked the director of APCA to share this book with me, and it's online. Actually, it's online also. You can find it online, and people can cite your work. People can read your good things happening at maybe Umuriro. I'm seeing many counseling firms coming up. We like to see you sharing your experiences in terms of research, in terms of best practices at the coming conference. I can't say it all. And I think, allow me to go to the conclusion of our discussion tonight.
Mr. Kavuma, before you get to the conclusion, there are some issues you need to address. Someone is asking, Mr. Kavuma, can both types of abstracts be used at the same time? That is from clinical psychologist Simon Sembilo. And in the same faith is asking, what kind of language is used in an abstract? Interrogative kind or a flat language? Can you please answer that?
Thank you so much. The first question, when you're writing an abstract, remember we said that an abstract, you write an abstract when you have carried out research and you have a research report of your work. Some of you graduated recently, you have your work there, and you maybe haven't presented it at any conference, but it would be good to share it. And if it happens that the conference they're organizing has a theme, a track or a sub-theme that is in line with your title, then you can organize an abstract. So an abstract is a summary of the research that you did. Now, when you write that abstract, it should be either scientific but not having a mixture at the same time in one. It must be either or. The second question, somebody was asking that the language should be plain language. Simple language. I don't know if simple language. I don't know if you have found a lot of challenges with my language here. I think this is the usual plain English that people at your level you are very familiar with. You know, even some of you have even better language, but you should be plain. You should be simple. Of course, where now, like if it is a cross-sectional study, or maybe a case study, or of course that kind of technical language is expected because that's it anyway. But presenting the results, what you found out, you have to be simple. You know, don't say that people happen to be maybe, what can I say? You know, using very extreme, very complicated kind of language. You should be simple so that people can understand what I'm trying to put across. In my conclusion, writing an efficient abstract is, of course, not another thing. Like I told you, it took me the whole day. So of course, in one day you can't write one, but of course, by the time you start writing, you have been thinking about it, you have done some work. But that day I had to submit my abstract. It took me the whole day to submit my abstract. You can't imagine. But later, I got excited and I learned. And you get very motivated if your paper is submitted and is accepted and you presented the audience. It is so motivating, very relieving. So nice. And even others to have a look at what you have written, and because your work will be published in the abstract book. So it's challenging, but it's worth a trying task, worth trying to start to do, because the benefits out of it are more than the costs. And make sure that all the components of a good abstract are taken care of as you write. I must say thank you so much for listening to me. And I share this presentation with you through our advocate, Mr. Adrian. I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kavma. I need to go down to the dictionary and I look for the right words to say thank you. But before you leave, there are a lot of pleasantries coming through from our YouTube channel. There is a lady called Immaculate Ayupo. She's saying thank you very much. Someone called Whitin N. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, UCA, for such an educative platform. Those are coming through from the YouTube channel of Uganda Counseling Association. Now, right in the chat room here, there was something from Patel. She was saying, okay, would like to clearly get the format of how it is written from Julius Kizito. That has been answered. Good evening, Mr. Kavma. I don't know if I have come late when you've already shared. My question is, at what occasion do we write the conference abstracts? Thank you, sir. That has been answered. Mr. Kasule Daniel is saying very fruitful. And Madam Patel Amola, thank you for the great presentation. Most of them have been pleasantries coming through. I would love to say on behalf, but I think, Mr. Kavma, you can stop sharing your screen and I put up something here before we leave. What concerning about the same, because we have an upcoming conference and this is what is expected of us as counselors. We have an upcoming conference. It's called the second annual National Mental Health Conference 2023. And this is the call for abstracts. It will take place next month between 24th and 26th of May at Silver Springs Hotel. Now the theme, that's the theme, the sub-themes, then the abstract format. That's the abstract format. The abstract should be 300 words times New Roman and single-spaced, formatted in one of these two ways. For those of scientific abstracts, the title, background, objectives, methods, just like how Mr. Kavuma was really detailing the formats. And then for those with community service programs and innovations, the format is quite clear, and this poster has been running around all our socials. So please, now that we know how to write the conference abstracts, we anxiously waiting for your abstracts at this year's National Mental Health Conference. Remember, and this conference doesn't bring only counselors, but it brings everyone that works along with mental health. So we expect community psychologists, clinical psychologists, social workers, counselors, and psychiatrists. So at that conference, we expect counselors to be actively there, involved. Either you share a scientific abstract or you share a community service program or innovation abstract. And indeed, we would it would be an amazing kind of experience having your abstracts coming through, and you can submit those abstracts to the information added there. Or I will post this call for abstract poster later after this fellowship. Is there any other concern before we sum it up here? Perhaps not really. On behalf of Uganda Counseling Association and the board and the entire team and the entire participants, we extend our sincere gratitude to our key main speaker or facilitator for the great fellowship. Your enthusiasm and humor has been motivational, and you've given us a lot to ponder and think about. It has been a great pleasure to listen to you talk. It has been a straightforward, explicit, and specific kind of presentation. Thank you for making our Thursday evening and momentous to remember. Actually, this fellowship content, Mr. Kavuma, had an enormous value. We have certainly gained, and I think it will sustain us greatly in as far as developing our practice is concerned. With that, from the entire team and entire people who have worked around me to put up this kind of fellowship, the president is on. The president, please say hello to the people before we close it down. Miss Elizabeth, it would be a disservice to leave without saying hello.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Good evening, and thank you so much, Mr. Kavuma, for enlightening us, and hopefully we can be able to make very good use of what you have been able to share with us this evening. We are looking forward to our participation as each one of us in several of the upcoming activities. And God bless you. Thank you so much, Adrian.
All right. Mr. Kavuma, thank you, and everyone that has participated. We are waiting for the results as we embark on writing our conference abstracts. My name is Adrian. That's it from us. Have a good night and bye for now.